All right, here we go. I don't know what episode this is because I lost like two.
Be like
It should be
12.
this should be a 13,
Yeah,
but it
I
will
think
be 11.
we're up to 20 sessions so far.
Yeah.
We had our 20th game session this previous Tuesday.
Yeah. So condensing it down's done really well too. But anyway, so I don't remember where we left off. I know they were in the town. Are you guys gonna redo the war?
We can go over it at the end of this because I'll describe what we just did,
All
and
right.
then see how much time's left and go from there.
All right.
So they were in Kirill last time. I don't know. I guess I'll start sharing so I can show people immediately. All right. See if I
Good.
can boot my fucking way through this. Green. Oh, cool.
Window capture.
You see the map?
I just. Oh, okay, there we go. I figured out how to do that. I'm gonna pop it out. Actually, I'm gonna bring it over here full screen. Fuck it. That's easier enough. Alright, so yes, I could see the main overland.
Okay. So let's go to Kirill, right on the border between three countries.
Yep.
One of the most prosperous trading cities on all of Perennia. And it's really making a killing as of this war. So we left off in this city.
Yeah, they were fighting.
They were splitting up to scout the north and the south. They came in through the gate. They wore some disguises, tricked their way through, made friends with the guard, got tailed by Wither's men, and then they got helped by the Sanctuarians who intervened, and they split up from there.
I
And I
forgot all
believe
about
that,
Withers.
yeah, that's the idea. So, but they haven't, absolutely.
It was 3 episodes ago we talked about him because it was right before the war.
Yeah, he has eyes and ears everywhere, and they learn even more when they go on their individual missions.
Oh
So from
shit.
this point on, the point of that was, and again, as I stated at the time when we talked about it, it was my fault. I got them more embroiled in that than I wanted to. The point was to just kind of rush them through it so that they'd know that Withers was there and had presence. But it ended up turning into a thing, and then I had to kind of like intervene and then get them separated. Then you talked to Shaw last time. I don't know
Yeah.
if you talked about this, or you talked to Shaw and Zverg at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, they
I don't.
they they kind of just like recapped like all they pretty much did was just prepare for setting out.
Yeah, and at that time, yeah, that's what we did. So in between that, we had a session where the one group went west
Yep. Okay.
and the other group went south. Oh, the balls.
That has no color, but
There
there
we
we go.
go. So, yes, they were here where my mouse is circling. The
I'm
one
just
group
covering
went
it with my
south.
mouse too.
Okay, yeah, it went south to the Empire Fangorn, all the way down to this lake here, which is about as far away as it gets. The other group, via ship, went here and stopped at all the countries along the way. I'll do each of theirs individually. So I'll do the group that went south first to Fangorn.
All right. They were trying to meet up with their peoples, right? That's what it was.
Well, they are trying to get their legacy gains.
That's
at
right.
the
That's what
beginning.
it was. That's what they
Yep, they'll
Sverg
throw
and
something.
Shaw talked about. Episode is lost. So if you're hearing this, that episode's lost.
And if you don't, then this one was lost too.
No.
So
Or you just didn't listen to the episode, people.
they head south. They get to Justan. Everything's fine. They get to Lakeside. They finally start hearing about the war. They get to Fuker Buddy, and they hear that there was a huge battle down in Kleinberg, which is where, or not a huge battle. There was an intervention in Kleinberg, and Kleinberg gave up. Now, the premise of this is basically from this point across. You see that line I'm drawing with my mouse, left to right?
So right, yeah.
That up, that up is the rebellion. From this point down, so these cities and all these cities, that's the established government.
So down
They hear that
here is government.
Conrad's
Okay.
the first rebel to fall, right? So that's the significance. So they hear the first rebel to fall when they get to Fukurbadi. Remember, it takes 240 days by the method that they're taking to get south, which is mostly just walking and paying for passage here and there. After they leave Fukurbadi, they get to Grosben. When they get to Grosben, they hear that there was a huge battle. Or sorry, no, they get to Grosben and discover that it's the aftermath of a huge battle. And this is where they meet Andromeda's twin brother, Darius. Andromeda is now level 6, and the player for Andromeda wanted to get a cohort with the leadership feat. So basically, there's a power in D&D where you can get a follower. The follower is treated as a player character. So basically, you get a second character without getting a second character, kind of. The purpose I like them for is it's the guy that you can leave to watch your shit, and he won't turn on you.
Okay.
So it's just my way of doing it. But you need it if you want followers. Like, say you want to have your own town and you want to have loyal people. You need to have that charisma, that leadership, I guess, trait to get people to even want to do stuff for you in the first place.
Well, that makes
So
sense.
it does. And Andromeda's character got that. Now Andromeda's character more wants the cohort, just so he can have a second character to give all the shit that he doesn't have room to do. He's a kitchen sink. He wants to have all of his bases covered. It's just how he is. So again, and that's why that feat exists, is for players like him. So he gets that feat from the very beginning. In his backstory, he had it set up that he was getting this cohort, his twin brother, who's also something else, and this is where he makes his debut by getting his ass handed to him by the local army. He went out from Grosben and met them on the field and got his ass handed to him. He fell back to Grosben. Everybody in the city is evacuating, and he meets his sister. Finds out that she's going south. He says he has to stay with his people for now, but they'll meet up again when they have to turn around and come back north again to meet up in Kirill again. So they head south from there, and on the road, they see the main opposition to the rebel army, and it is 200 treants with 200 druid riders.
Treants?
Treants with druid riders, just like in Lord of the Rings, the big walking trees, but those are their mounts, essentially. So even though there's only 200 of them, that is an insanely potent
Yeah,
mix.
that's a good
Now,
sizable group, like platoon.
Now, up until now, also keep in mind, they have no idea why there's a civil war. They just know there's a civil war. So now, as they go south, they finally realize the true reason for the civil war. Because those druids and those treants, on those treants, have been sacrificing children to demons to gain power.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So your choice in this civil war is to side with the people who don't want child sacrifice, or side with the established government that is literally killing children.
Yeah, the government you set up.
Yeah, the one that Andromeda set up.
That's why I'm Andromeda as in you. I got a
Oh, yeah,
flashback to that interview.
Yeah. So the government is now headed north with all their demonic powers and everything like that, and they're an army unto themselves, even though there's 200. The only drawback is they move fairly slow. Treants are not the hugest things, and that's kind of how I'm going to meter the war too. Is that while it's an insanely powerful army, it's very slow moving and can only be in one place at a time. But the slaughter that happened in that battle basically destroyed the opposing army. So now all they have to do with that 200 Treant army is go to each rebel city, suppress each rebel city, put their own people in charge again, and go. So that gives them basically a ticking clock to get all this done.
Dude, that's
to their
crazy.
benefit, I'm not really keeping track of it. It's just going to so happen that because they chose to help Fangorn last, when they do start this one, it's going to be the only one with a ticking clock, but it's going to be hundreds of days. They're going to know about it, but I want the end of the war to have some urgency to it, because now it's been, by the time they get back, it's been 2 years and 56 days since they first met on the ship to the settlement. So they've
Oh,
been
fuck.
together for a very long time, 2 entire years now, getting into the 3rd year. All their characters have aged 2 years. So Andromeda's not the 18-year-old naive girl. Now she's quite well traveled, quite like a bit older. The halfling and the elf, because they age slower, not a huge increment to them. Same with the gnome. So really
Uh oh. Uh oh.
different.
Hold on.
started.
You cut out right when you talked about how the other party aged slower.
Oh, the other party aged slower just because they're all metahumans.
All right, and
So
then right
Andromeda's
after that, you cut out.
yeah, no worries. So with that in mind, they head south. Other things they learn is that the Justan, Lakeside, Fukurbuddy, they all killed the people in charge on the day that they decided to rebel. And then the Druids sent new people, a little bit more powerful up, and they killed those people too. It only matters just to show how far these people are willing to go to not be involved with this government. So they get to Kleinberg. When they get to Kleinberg, I can actually show you. Yeah, I can.
Hell yeah, maps, the new feature.
Yeah. So this is Kleinberg, and you will now see. This is the hometown of Zverg. Zverg's house and property is here. He didn't want a wall, so I made him a natural amount of trees that act as a wall. So this is his property. That's his home. He wanted nothing too fancy. He actually drew me a hand drawing of what he wanted, just quick and dirty. And then I went in and found symbols. That's his greenhouse that he wanted because he's big into
Cannabis
gardening.
Point is such a shit name. I gotta criticize that.
Yeah, you do so. He was quite proud of it. And he has his house and he's got a little workshop. Yeah,
You drop Manor, or you change Cannabis Point to something else. Like, instead of giving it like a location name, you give it like an object name. Like, if that makes sense.
I know what you mean. But you could tell him yourself in the interview.
It'd be like Green Thumb Manor or Cannabis Point, and then leave it at that. That's my criticism.
Well, yeah, you can tell him.
I will.
So yeah, from there, they leave Kleinberg on the Great Road. I forgot to mention that the Great Road is from the early time when this was actually the country called Shanshan. It's so old that they notice when they travel down it that it still doesn't look like it's aged at all, which leads them to believe, and after some investigating, confirmation that the road itself is magical.
Oh
It
shit.
stays in perfect condition at all times, making it the trade capital, or making it into the huge trading country that it is now. They're huge in exports, and they've got good raw materials to export too. Everything you can imagine. So from that point on, they head south from Kleinberg to Fort Rath to Willowwind. They rent a boat, go across the largest lake, or largest inhabited lake, to Thistledown. Thistledown is where Andromeda grew up. She was taken in.
Andromeda.
Her property is Clearwater Manor in the top right-hand corner. Big ass house, nice big workshop, and 2 boats. This is actually a dry dock. I couldn't reflect it with the symbols available, but just picture this having rails and stuff so you could take out a large ship straight out into the water.
If I lived in this village or town, I'd be hanging out at the docks. That's like that'd be the hub.
Oh yeah, it is too because it's a lakeside community. They don't have roads between a lot of them. Remember, this is well, not remember, just
So that's
this
a
is
lot
a
of crime
lake.
and just hidden locations to go.
It is because this only shows the major population centers. A lake like this would be inhabited all around. Little shitbox communities here, there, and everywhere. Thistledown has a trail that goes to Salt Marsh, but most people just take a boat along the shoreline and go from city to city in this lake. So it's a very, very highly populated area too, because the capital is Fort Carrick. So, and there's no road known to get between Thistledown and Fort Carrick. Most people assume that they take this river to go between them. But it's also known that most people in Fort Carrick don't leave, and that's where the Druids are based out of. So it's anybody's guess what's actually going on there.
Why don't they leave?
Well, that's for you to find out, I guess. But yeah, there's not a lot of leaving. Not a lot of leaving. Remember, these people are power crazy. There's reasons for everything. So with that in mind, they went down, got their shit, got their property. They also got money tied to their levels. They each got about 5,600 gold. Then they headed back up. They got the gold they're entitled to for their level. When they get to level 10, they get 11,000 gold. When they get to level 15, they get 176,000 gold.
Oh, damn.
So they get proportional gold gains as they go. Now the other 2 characters, Quick and Shaw, went west. They met a Sanctuarian contact who's actually a double agent. So he pretends to work for the Galdran government, but really he works for the Sanctuary, and gives the
What a
Sanctuary all the
snake!
information. Yeah, it's awesome. Gives the Sanctuary all the information they want, and then he holds back from Galdran what they don't need to know. They take off on the ship, stop at this place. They stop here in time to learn that so far, I guess I can go there instead of just vaguely pointing. I go to Volkov first and learn that since they've been to the Sanctuary, because remember, it's been about a year now, in that year, the very first moves of the war had Galdran taking King's Hold. When you take King's Hold, you control the Watch. The Watch is not significant for them to hold at the time. Everybody sees it as strategic, right? It's a
Yeah.
strategic objective to hold the Watch. That's why they take it.
Yeah,
It
that makes
also is
sense.
a safe port that they can base out of because they have to come from so far away. So they kind of turn King's Hold into a temporary forward operating base. In their terms for war, they explain
Uh-oh.
not going to try and conquer the Watch because they know that sword
Oh,
waves and
hold
they
on.
understand the importance of the negative zone. They lost a lot of magic. Yeah.
You just cut out a lot.
Okay. Sorry.
Right, yeah, just repeat that last two sentences.
So in the war terms, they told the countries, or they told Sort, who is their ally, and they told all the countries that their only intention on taking King's Hold was to use it as a forward observer base. That way they wouldn't unite Sort against them, because Sort understands the importance of holding the undead at bay. All
Yeah.
the countries understand the importance of this. It's a coalition effort, and one that the war is supposed to supersede. And for the first year, it does. Everything goes off without a hitch. So they make their way across to Volkov. They figure out that in that first year, they've moved from King's Hold. They took Tiviadra first and made that into their new FOB. They had trouble getting Tiviabra, and this is the first time the players hear about Withers. Withers himself and his force with his flagship, which is supposed to be a giant ship, twice the size of any other ship. His flagship, I'm modeling it on Darth Vader and his giant Star Destroyer. So he comes there with his
That
giant
makes
ship and
sense.
the rest of his ships. I see them like the Empire using giant ships to enforce their will.
I like the
So
point when Darth Vader gang raped Leia too.
oh yeah, absolutely. Who would? So, so they make their way from they make their way from Volkov, discovering that Tiviadra's been hit. When they get to Sidra, they discover that now Geldrin has Katagrat too. Now, the significance of taking cities again is in the war terms. In order for them to win the war, they have to take more than 50% of the settlements. So this is 2. They're moving on Sidra as the group gets there. So when they get there, Sidra has a huge embargo on it right now. The Northerners are digging in and putting up defenses. Apparently, King Elric himself has showed up. So they're trying to make a good stand at Sidra. When they stop at Volkov, Volkov just has an embargo, and they don't actually set foot on Volkov. They see that Volkov is also being barricaded and made for a final standing point. So they meet this embargo. They resupply the Galgian ships because the ship that they're on was hired to resupply the Galgian embargo. So that's their cover for getting all the way to King's Hold. Then once they're in King's Hold, they're supposed to fill up,
That's
and then
good
they go
cover.
back, resupply on the back. Because the sanctuary is hitting them so hard, they've had to subcontract out other people. That was what the group discovered when they went to Kirill the first time. They learned that these submersibles are wildly successful. Also, coupled with the fact that, remember, Wither's whole point of making that pirate base was to rip off the supply ships. Galgian ships were getting hit twice. First from the pirates that are under Wither's control, and second from the Sanctuary, who is just straight up sinking them. They don't want any of this stuff. They just want to cripple them, while Withers is taking it away. Either way, they're losing double.
Yeah.
So for the first year, this is seriously hampering the war effort. They're a full year behind where they had projected to be taking all of this land. So Withers himself goes up there in the guise of getting Treviadra in. But really, he has a secret plan that I'll get into later. So when he gets there, he kicks their asses into gear and they take Treviadra and blah blah. They get to Sidra, find the embargo, that's their second stop. Then they move along to Kattegat, then they move around to Tiviadra, all the way to King's Hold finally. Again, that's 240 days to get there. When they get there, again, and this whole session was, let's just burn through this in one session. There wasn't a whole lot of roles. There was a bunch of role play, and really, what do you think you could do and get away with? And
Mm-hmm.
that was all it was. And I applaud them for working with me on that one. There was a lot of instances I know they wanted to go more, but it wasn't the point. I didn't want them broken up. They get to
Yeah.
King's Hold, Quick and Shaw both go into stealth mode, start watching. First and foremost, they find Nathan's. They see that Nathan's is okay, but he looks to be in rough shape. He's coughing a bit, kind of like a person who had tuberculosis would, like just odd coughing fits. And they see him spaz out at his keepers. They also discover that all of the administration in King's Hold is now Galdrin. Also, all of the
Oh
entire
fuck.
council in King's Hold itself, which I could show, I guess.
Gouger my boys.
Yeah, so they took so they basically just fuck off and they go to here. Remember, this isn't really a town. Not remember, sorry, I keep saying it. You don't know. But this is a town that isn't a town. It's strictly a stop-off point for soldiers going north when they first arrive to serve on the watch, or for the rare watch soldiers that get to leave. They come back here. They stay at Wiz's Ranch for a little bit. They can pray at the shrine to the All Gods. But other than that, this is strictly a last-ditch effort. If the hordes of undead push back through the watch, this is the last place everybody bails out for, and
Yeah,
then they
because they
fall
can
back.
go to a different part of the world.
Yeah, they can. This is the last spot. This is the way out. So they get there, they spy on all these places, but they just climb the walls. It's pretty sparsely guarded. Nobody is really worried because there's like 16 fucking Galdran ships in the dock protecting this very vital asset. Nobody has the navy to even touch them, and they kind of know that too. So the point is, they're kind of lax. So when they get there, the lax guards allow them to get close enough to see Nathan's, gather info in the form of Withers was there. He was there mere weeks before they got there.
That's right. Withers is always
Fucked off.
just ahead of them.
Just ahead of them, and he will be like Carmen Sandiego. So he, so he, oh, that's for that. I should delete that. Anyway, go there, discover that, and then they head back. In that session, that's pretty much all that happened. And a lot of that stuff I've already described before in previous shows about how I'm going to. I think I've already kind of talked about what they were going to learn when they went south.
Yeah.
The big takeaways for the southern group was that the druids have a giant army, but slow-moving army that is nigh impregnable. You're going to have a lot of beef because druidic magic was not fucked with. Tixis doesn't touch that. Strictly the elements that they work for. And then they've been enhanced by demon magic too, is what Zverg would infer because he's a wizard and he understands the significance of it. The other group, again, their big takeaway is Nathan's is there. Their King Alric is the main protagonist against the antagonist Galdrin, and now they have the brother. So everybody's kind of where they should be for level 6, ready to gear out. Again, this is my favorite level to do stuff on is between 5 and 10. I find the best challenges at that one, so I'm jacked to get going. So we meet again at Grill the next time. It's just a bit of cleanup in that one. I want to give them time to buy stuff because they have not had one single chance to buy things until now.
I noticed that. I was going to ask about that. Like, do they get the fucking
So they get
shop?
back to Grill, and I didn't want them to do it because they didn't have money before they left. But now they got all this money burning a hole in their pocket. Now keep in mind, only 2 of them have money. The other 2 got their items. So the items that they got were Shaw got the boots of Treetopper, which have abilities that buff his hide and move silently, and also helps him to fucks with his bow, gives him a buff on the bow. And then Quick's bracers they give him 10-foot reach 3 times a day, and he also gets a buff to his strength. So he's a little bit stronger now, and he doesn't do a -1 when he does combat anymore, which is really good for him.
Hell
He was
yeah.
he was thankful for that because I gave the other guys $5,000 plus property that would be worth quite a bit more, and it's going to go up.
It could be priceless if they take care of it and make good decisions.
Yeah, it's a long-term investment for them, but it's still monetarily, it was more than what the guys with the magic items got. So I buffed both their items a little bit. I gave them both stat boosts to their items. So Shaw's also got him a dexterity bonus as well. So basically, I just gave them a little bit more. Now everyone was on par. They got to buy stuff. Then the next big question is, they get word from the sanctuary that, again, it's been about 2 years. So in that 2 years, King Ash, good to his word, built them a masterwork submersible. Now, it's still a prototype submersible, but it's the submersible that Andromeda asked for, essentially. It's the first one that he built. I wanted to give him what he wanted.
Yeah,
Um,
of course.
Perfect size to go wherever they want, and it's going to be invaluable for the next phases of the war. And it's just like Final Fantasy, where they get their first cool
It,
vehicle,
it,
and
it
then they get the
impacts
whole
the
world.
future of Perennia and the games and sessions going forward.
It is. And he has big plans too, right? Like he wants her to invent a sextant. But we're not going to go as far as the sextant. We'll go with a quadrant first. So his character at the peak of her like old age, she's ready to die. It's her lifetime crowning achievement. Even more than the submersible is the means to navigate further from shore. And he'll come up with the quadrant. And then she'll die. The
I don't
quadrant
know
will
if we
be
talked about that in our interview, which
we
should
did
be uploaded soon.
yeah, I honestly, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, like that's something that we talked about doing. And I told him Sextant at first, but then when we played last time, I was trying to see how long this journey would take because I had it worked out where it was a sailing ship that had stops and there was all sorts of delays involved. I wanted to
Yeah.
know how fucking fast they could make this journey if nobody was going to stop them because I'd skip by one thing. At the end of that session, before we played the next time, they had a choice to make whether they were going to help Nathan's all the way over here or whether they're going to help King Alric fight back. They chose to help Nathan's, which means they're gonna burn up time going all the way back to
Yeah.
someone who was
That
left
is
again.
such a bad decision.
Well, not really, because that was 240 days in the other ships. Now we are at their own disposal. They have a ship that can run 24/7 because I gave them a magic motor for it, because magic's not gone. And yes, the point was low magic, and they have a backup where they could hand power it, but the point was to give them a means to be independent.
Yeah.
So they have this ship at their disposal, but the infinite power of it isn't enough to go faster than the fastest sailing ship. Like the fastest sailing ship just leaves a submersible in dust. So this one has a collapsible mast, which gives them sailing ship speeds. So they were able to make this 240-day journey with all things considered. So they made the choice to go help Nathan's. We figured out all the supplies that they would need for the journey, and then we left off that session. And now we're up to date. We're about to talk about the session we just played 2 days ago.
I was just about to
So,
ask where
in,
we're at. So that covers
yeah,
the shit I lost too.
pretty much. Yeah,
Because you
brings us.
cover the Shaw and Sverg episode. Well, the Shaw interview, Sverg Shaw episode. We covered
I'm at,
a little bit of that, like what they were going through down up north and what the party went through down in Fangorn. And then that's where they left off when I last talked to them. Again, everything in the month of June on my computer, games included, just gone.
okay.
Yeah. It fucking
Oh,
sucks.
always time to record.
Yeah.
So,
But it's like not just what my external. It's like my shit reverted. Like even my base PC is missing a lot of like pictures and stuff I've made for videos. It was weird. I'm pretty sure I was really
safer slope
tired.
winter something. Oh,
Yeah, I'm saying I'm
robot.
pretty. Oh no, no robots. No, I was just saying I'm pretty sure I was really tired doing some work and entirely fucked up.
All good.
Yeah.
So,
Anyways, so last session
so
Tuesday.
we met up on Tuesday. From Kirill, like I said, they had a choice. They chose to help Nathan's. Said to figure out how fast we could do it. A bit of talk about how to even do it. The base time to do it with a sailing ship that had no stops in between and could run for 20 hours a day. Because again, they were going to work 24-hour shifts. There's not much they have to do. They just have to go and eat. They can create their own water because they have two divine casters, so they're good to go.
Aw, that's cheating.
Yeah, it's the way it's supposed to
That's
be.
like the World of
They were,
Warcraft way of getting water.
they were able to make the 240-day journey in 69 days. Fucking A. So they burned here in 69 days. So they get back to
So
King's
with no
Gold.
stops, that's fast with no stops.
Well, they didn't need to because everything they need is on board. Oh, I could show you the sub.
Oh.
I don't think I'll dox myself.
Well, I edit
No.
these, so
Okay, good. I don't think I will though. But I put it.
I have to re-listen to the Andromeda episode since YouTube isn't uploading it, and I caught one instance where I didn't completely edit out a name drop.
where the hell I put it. Right, this one. Submersible updated. There it is. Do you see that?
No, you got to change the window in Discord.
Oh, it's only got to be that one. Okay, no worries. But anyway, the sub itself actually has amenities in it. They can live and work. So all they need is supplies, and they surface once in a while to refresh the air, and they're fucking good to go.
That's nifty. That's really nifty.
There we
They
go.
can just recycle their own OCG.
So here's a submersible.
Oh, okay, that's pretty sweet. It's a wooden interior, or at least wooden interior deck.
Now this is just I use the map maker I have has a ship maker.
Okay. So that's just.
So the ship maker just has like a nice deck layout.
Suspension.
Like that.
Suspension of disbelief.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to on Steampunk and D&D itself.
Yeah, that's true.
They hid all the stuff underneath the floorboards so that they would have, because they knew what they wanted to do. They wanted to take this all over the world, go wherever the fuck they wanted. They can go up rivers, all sorts of places. They also we needed stats in case something happened. So now they actually have statistics for it. We have food, water, supplies. This was printed off, and then we filled in all the blanks.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense.
Because they're always going to change, right? So
that's true, yeah.
So at King's Hold, they arrive. They come in on the submersible at night, and they kind of do a drive-by and figure out that there's nowhere really close by that they want to keep it. They go and they land on this shore here, and now that Andromeda has his cohort, the brother, say, come back here in 1 week. We'll flash you a mirror signal, and you come to shore when you get the mirror signal. So he says, okay, and he fucks off.
That's clever.
Goes down. It's Andromeda. So from there, they head upriver, upstream. I make them roll a 50% chance that they found a good spot on the first day. They don't. Day 2 rolls around. They finally find a good camp spot that they like, that they can kind of base out of. It's hidden, blah, blah. Day 3 rolls around. They leave early morning to get a nice vantage point and do some scouting with Andromeda's brand new spyglass. Spyglasses are like 100 gold, so he was pretty jacked to use it. They use the spyglass and spend most of the morning looking it over, and a couple things jump out at them immediately. First thing they notice is this place over here is deserted. To the point where it's like an old western where the doors are slamming on the hinges because no one's been in those for days. They notice They notice a shitload of guards at this end with crossbows. They notice a shitload of guards at this end with crossbows and maces and everything. All along these walls, where it was not even well defended before, is almost wall-to-wall Galdranites. Or Galdrain.
I just want to point out, before you continue in what they do, I just want to say that is such... Galdran's side, that is such a terrible defense. Because
well, it's against that.
Because I know the point is, like, that side is facing where the main road where everyone's going to be coming if they're coming from the land. But they're leaving their other, their main entry point with one side without guards.
Well, there's also another thing. There's no more ships in harbor. They had 16 ships in harbor before.
Oh, so it'd be obvious if someone's pulling up too.
Yeah, well, they did it at night in the submersible, which is almost impossible to spot. So they were good.
Yeah, maybe someone could come up from the north.
They still have like patrols going around the wall.
Oh, okay.
Like normal, but the majority of the guys are over here with crossbows ready to rock. So these points jump out at them immediately. They spend the day looking through, like I said, and their vantage point actually allows them to look down up onto the inside of this place. So they're able to see Nathan's on the wall talking to the soldiers. Zverg's the one who actually sees him, but Zverg failed his sense motive to see how the soldiers feel about Nathan's. Because again, they don't know how people feel. And maybe the soldiers are on his sides and maybe they're not. The second thing that jumps out at them about Nathan's is the fact that he's being comforting to the soldiers, and secondly, he looks like he's on death's door. He's got very like yellowed skin. His skin's almost like parchment. He's coughing almost nonstop. He can barely walk. The advisors follow him, though, and they speak in his place, kind of like Biden's advisors. I'm modeling him on Biden right now. But he can barely fucking But it's a real world example that you can use. The man can barely fucking function, and it's his handlers keeping him going. And what's going on here? He's a literal puppet, because Nathan's is a literal puppet under control of his handlers. That's why I'm modeling it on Biden, because that's basically what he is.
That makes
So
sense.
you can, yeah, if you can picture that, that's what's happening to Nathan's. He's a puppet, only he's an unwilling puppet. And all this aging is from him fighting this dominate person that's been on him for almost 2 years now. Because they slapped it on him as soon as he walked into their arms again. He
Yeah.
escaped. They thought they'd killed him. They found he was still alive. And the brother was like, change of plans. Let's send the real Nathan's back and just dominate him. And then he'll pass all inspections and we'll have the wisdom of the actual guy there. And then that's what they ended up doing.
Poor
So they put him under.
Withers. Nathan's. Poor Nathan's.
So yeah, Nathan's is, yeah, he's just a survivor though. So they realize he's there. They decide to send Quick and Shaw in that night. Now this is probably my favorite point of the night. I rolled the weather app because I wanted to know what was going on. Because if it was cold and icy, they wouldn't be able to see. So the weather came up blizzard first, but I wasn't feeling a blizzard. I didn't want one that night. It didn't feel right, so I skipped it. And the next one was clear and minus 13 degrees centigrade, which is around 23 degrees, I believe, Fahrenheit. So below freezing. But this is a river that meets salt water, so it's not frozen.
Yeah, I was gonna say still manageable. 20 degrees near water is manageable.
They choose to come in on this side and swim across. So the closest point on here is 20 feet to go across this gap.
Okay.
Or 30 feet, I guess. So across that gap, he's lucky. I measured with this on the thing, and I only got 20.
That has the least amount of guards, from what you're saying too. That very spot.
So they before they left, Quick has a cool class, man. That spell thief is pretty cool. He jacks 3 spells from Zverg and Andromeda to help him on his journey. So he gives himself Spider Climb, and he gives himself a couple other spells I can't remember right now. That
the
ended up
man's
helping
hacking Call of Duty perks. It's bullshit.
Yeah,
Call Activision on them.
So they get to the end. If you ever seen SpongeBob, you know how David Hasselhoff swims and SpongeBob stands on his back.
Oh my god, yeah.
So that is how Shaw wants to swim across to keep Quick dry, because Quick doesn't have a good swim because he has a very low strength, and he doesn't have that good a con either. While Shaw went and got himself the endurance feat because he kept failing all those fucking endurance checks when he was running, and it paid off in this. Because you have to think, it's minus 13 centigrade or 23-degree water, and he's swimming across it with a load.
Yeah, that man his body would give up like what after
So he's got
17.
He's got wet clothes on now. So I made him roll endurance checks so that he wouldn't freeze to death and get hypothermia. So he ended up making his checks while he was there. So he's freezing to death in these wet ass clothes, sneaking around this fucking compound like a stud. So So they have 3 things to choose. The hardest thing is the logistics office, which from their recollection is just a place to store things, like literally logistics stuff, like crates and barrels and shit and armor and surplus weaponry. But it's also the most under guard because there's guys all up here and it's well lit. So they choose to split up. Shaw takes the battle hall, and Quick takes the High Protector's manor. We did Shaw first. So Shaw sneaks into the battle hall. The only ones who live in the battle hall are the administrators, and everybody else has been kicked out.
That's a great kill then. An opportunity for kills.
But they're not there to kill. They're strictly there to get info. Plus, Shaw's not really a killer like that. He's a ranger, right? He's pretty peaceful, and he's good. So he makes his way into there and starts sneaking around. And really, it's just a bunch of paper. It's an administrative wing, and he can't read. He can only read Northerner, and he can only read the basic Northerner stuff that they teach you in the watch so that you know where you're going. So he can read rudimentary at best, like an 8-year-old. He knows some words immediately, but for the most part, he has to sound out words in order to get an idea of what they are. So again, he's just not equipped for the job, which again made it fun. So here he is, freezing his fucking balls off in these wet clothes. He snuck into this place where he has no idea what anything is. He just starts grabbing things at random. So he finds, number 1, that a lot of these things are requisition forms. That's something he knows because he served in the watch.
That's good information to use.
So he finds these requisition forms, and the bad part is he can read dates, and he realizes some of them are 6 months old and they've never even been looked at.
Oh.
So he sneaks around, he starts grabbing stuff. Now he can't read, like I said, so he just tries to pick what has the most scrawls on it or the fanciest looking shit to bring back to Zverg, because Zverg's the only one of them that can read it. So he grabs all this handful of stuff, and right at the end of the mailbag, he discovers a sealed letter from Withers. I'll read you the content. Now, the sealed letter from Withers informs them, because I forgot to actually tell them. I had to text them later that night because I was pretty baked and I totally skipped by it. I just want to read it so I get it right. Yeah. Withers' letter. The letter details that Withers has a man close to King Elric. He says that Elric is a beaten man, and now the war just needs to run its course.
That's like a Donald Trump tweet.
Yeah, almost. Now that's just abbreviated, right? There's more to it. But the gist is, Elric got beaten at the last place, which means that now Geldrin holds 4 of the 6 cities
Oh
in
shit.
a set amount of time, which I actually do have written down that they have. They have to intervene by either helping King Elric take one back or doing some sort of other damage to Geldrin, which you're about to find out is the route they're probably going to take in a second. So they get all that info. From there, Quick goes to the High Protector's Manor. He finds that the High Protector's Manor is incredibly well guarded in regards to outside. There's only windows in the front of it. When he gets on the windows, he finds out the windows don't go to any of, or doesn't go to Nathan's bedroom. When he explores around, he does discover that Nathan's bedroom is tucked back in the corner, right here in the middle, and it's sealed, like airtight sealed. When he remembers back, he makes a check. He realizes that Withers' room is, or not Withers, Nathan's room is like that because they want to protect from vampires who can go into gaseous forms and try to kill or impersonate or control the High Protector. So he has like this awesome, well-protected bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
But the door isn't locked. So he chooses to open the door and he walks in. And then he realizes that there's no windows in the room and he can't see in the dark. So he just
It could be a trap.
No, it isn't. He just stands there and listens, and he realizes that Withers is even fighting for self-control in his sleep. And he hears 2 sides of the conversation, both in Nathan's voice, one with a French accent and one
Oh
without.
no, no French
Definitely
accent,
confirmed.
please.
The point of that was to confirm, without a doubt, that Nathan's was under control of Geldrin.
So he can't be held to trial later.
Well, just they want to rescue him is more what it
Well,
is. So they
yeah.
find where he is, and he realizes he can't see in the dark to do anything else, so he leaves, which was the smart thing to do. He leaves and goes and finds the desk, and basically the desk where Nathan sits and does all of his work. The desk is devoid of anything except 2 stacks of paper. 1 stack of paper yet to be signed, and 1 stack of paper signed. Again, just like Shaw, Quick can't read. But unlike Shaw, Quick is a arcane spellcaster, so he has a rudimentary idea of more significance of paperwork. So he kind of infers a lot more from the paperwork than Shaw could, being totally out of his depth. So Quick infers that they are requisition supply forms from countries confirming that they're sending supplies, and then there are pieces of paper that Nathan's is signing that are sending all of those supplies to Geldrin ships instead of inland to the Watch. So you have to let that sink in for a second. They got the significance of.
Please repeat that so I don't have to.
So the short version is Withers went there and started getting Nathan's to divert all the supplies that should go to the Watch to hold back the undead hordes to the Geldrin war effort instead.
I just wanted you to repeat how Withers is coming back into the story as a person of note.
He's the one who set that up because he's the one where everything started was the date that he arrived. He started getting Nathan's to sign these requisition forms. He started sending all the supplies that everybody kept sending in spite of how they were doing in the war. So like, if, for example, the Northerners always sent manpower. They were still sending men. Only now these men are being sent down south to the Geldrin army to serve in Geldrin army instead. Which is wild. So they start thinking again, and okay, so I'll just skip to the end of that. They get all the info they want. They don't fuck up. They roll amazing fucking sneak checks, sneak back out, go back to the camp. Zverg takes all the paperwork, sorts it through, and then they gain a bunch of information. They gain the information about what I just said about Withers getting there, and once Withers got there, all the supplies start getting diverted.
I was
So
gonna say,
then they need to
see what supplies they need and what they don't need, and use that to your advantage. bleed them out of the supplies they have abundance of, so they have to requisite more, or bleed them out of what you want, and then go and just hijack the supplies coming in. That's how I would do it. What did? Hello?
Yeah, I'm there. Sorry,
Oh,
my daughter
okay.
was
You're good.
my daughter was talking to me there. I missed the last end of it. I was able to follow both until she started asking more
All
shit.
right. So what I was saying is, what I would have done is like take the information. All right, I would use the information, their supplies, like what they need, what they're requesting, and try to figure out what they're not requesting much, and try to bleed them out of that supplies, just so they're just low on everything, or just only bleed them out of supplies you need, or not you, the party needs themselves, and then just hit the convoys or whatever. That's what I
Well,
would
it's
do.
a pretty grand scale because they're sending out cases of stuff and they're constantly getting ships. So you
It would
could
be
get
hard
away.
to do that. Okay.
Well, I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying you'd have to get Nathan's to do that because he's the High Protector. So he's the final say. So if you could get Nathan's on board to do that, that's fine. It'll be up to them though. We never got that far, but that's a
Okay.
cool idea. So they get back. They realize that that's what's happening, and then they just decide. Well, they start talking amongst themselves about.
About what?
Oh no! So I tell them, I'm like, this is a blatant war. They are now stealing from Sort, who is supposed to be their ally, and Sort
Yeah.
is also all about paperwork. They believe in that stuff because they run the slave trade, and even though they're the most archaic in terms of basically having people mostly in the Stone Age for tools and shit still, they also respect the deal. So it'd be like Hitler turning on Stalin. That's the level of betrayal that's going on here.
Yeah.
So that
Okay.
meant
So that's a.
they now want to go to Sort. So they're going to go from the Northlands to the desert, potentially. Of course, that's not going to happen. And it'll be this episode won't come out before they hear it. But they're going to free Nathan's. I'll just predict. So that was that session. We left off where they now have to kill 4 days because they told the brother to come back in a week. And they did most of the hard work in the first 3 days. So the next day that comes along, there's an ice storm. So they put it off. And then a day after that, Shaw and Quick go back. Only this time when they go back with a ton of spells on them, so that they get protected. So they're able to swim across the water, no problem. They take no ill effects from the ice or the snow, because again, they knew what they were getting into this time. They climb over. They're not able to climb over the wall. Oh, sorry, I skipped one thing. Also, when he was in the office, Quick found a secret tunnel that goes from the
Oh.
High Protector's Manor's office down below and comes out underneath the dock. So the
Ooh.
idea was you fight the undead, they push you back. You make your final stand in the High Protector's Manor, they push you back. You make your final stand in the High Protector's office.
You blow it up too.
Back, yeah, well, there's no blow up button, but yeah, there's a
Well, I'm
secret
saying
path.
you set it up, like you trap
Yeah,
it.
you could, yeah, absolutely. And then from there, you get pushed back, you go through the secret tunnel, come out of the docks. Ideally, there's a ship there waiting for you, and you get away as the undead horde takes over the whole castle. That's the fallback. So Quick finds that map, and now they take that map that he found, and he also confirms there's a switch, but he doesn't throw the switch in case it's noisy, because he was there at night. So now they're going to go back and try to get back to that panel from the opposite direction. So they go there that night with all those spells on, find the he rolled amazing, so they find the secret exit immediately. They go
What
backwards.
fucking luck is that?
He does. He had a really good night. He rolled 2 natural 20s. It was Quick's night for sure. So he makes his way backwards to the tunnel, but alas, when they get there, they realize there's no button to let them into the High Protector's Manor, because the idea is that it's airtight even from vampires. However, they do notice that the machinery is Sanctuarian, like old Sanctuarian, because everybody helped build this place, and it was the Sanctuarians that built the machinery to heighten it and lower it. And Zverg is a very intelligent gnome.
Yeah.
So when we left off, they were talking about potential plans. And one of the potential plans was for Zverg to get his eyes on those gears and see if he could make it so that the gears went backwards and lowered it instead, so that they could infiltrate through the floor.
Ooh. A
So
little
that's where
bit
we
of
left.
Rainbow Six Siege.
Yeah, it's nice, right? So they were basically hashing over potential plans when we left off. And then that was last night's session. So what is going to happen now in regards to just what they can potentially do, I don't know how it's going to go, of course, But the idea is to free Nathan's. When they free Nathan's and Nathan's realizes the state, first and foremost, he's going to remember everything that happened to him. He's
Yeah,
not
it's
going to be like,
vital.
"God,"
They need.
he's going to know what he did, what he was party to. It's going to hit him like a ton of bricks. And then his duty is going to kick in. And he knows that there's an undead horde on the way, and that the watch has been overrun, and that they really are the last defense between the hordes of Texas and them overwhelming the rest of the world. So he is going to know all this stuff, and he is going to insist that they stay and turn back the undead horde.
And they will. Like,
Will
without
they?
the party, they can.
They have to make a decision again. I love making them make decisions. The decision is, do you stay and help the undead or help against the undead horde, or do you go and end the war?
Oh. The undead horde is something that can't really be reversed that easy. A war, a shitty dictator, shitty ruling class can always be dealt with, no matter what. Undead seems like something that would be hard to reverse.
I don't know what they're gonna do. I'm very excited to find out though.
After talking to well, actually all four of them, it seems like they will go with stop the undead and then see what they can do after the fact.
Okay, I like it.
Because if it's too late, then it's too fucking late. All you can do is, since there's going to be a fire of rebellion, because it's like, oh, we lost, they're going to double their efforts. More people are going to join a rebellion. If they don't succeed at stopping the war, or at least making sure it's still, like, you know, 50-50, at least they can join in the fire of, like, retaliation. And they'll have so much support after that if they don't make it in time. That's how I see it in, like, a realistic setting.
If they stay, this is what's going to happen. They will be sent to find each section of watch. So what happened was they got overrun because they had no supplies for a year. They got pushed back, pushed back, pushed back. They're doing what they can, but the wall's been breached and the undead are making their way. The natural contours of the land and the way everything goes, which is not fully reflected in this. It's just a old-timey looking overland map that I was going for. They are the easiest way is exactly through here. Also, they're compelled to go there and wipe out every last man, woman, and child because that's what they do.
It's kind of
when
scummy.
Nathan comes through, he's going to know that Watcher's Bite has been abandoned essentially. Castle Pock Guy was where everybody went to, and then there was some sort of battle that he gets wind of, right? Because he does have people keep paying attention to this stuff. It's just he was diverting so many supplies. He didn't think anything was going to happen. So they got taken off guard. Castle Pock Guy was the first one to fall, and everybody got pushed back. So all the remnants are scattered. They got to go back, find all the members of the watch, and put the watch back together.
That might take a little bit more time.
It will. And they are going to have to fight the undead off first at that, like at King's Hold. Because as soon as they wake up Nathan's, I'm going to reveal all this stuff, and then they're going to be like, well, we're going to do this, and then I'm going to hit them with the undead horde. So that they still have to fight them. But if they want to go to Sort, at least they got a fight in before they left, you know?
Yeah, the party's definitely going to seek out that fight too. Ain't no doubt about it.
Well, they'll be pivotal, like absolutely pivotal. Now, Andromeda is high enough level that she can actually turn undead quite, like, to a good degree. I think I'm going to hit him with, I don't know, 30 to 40 zombies. I'll intersperse it with a couple of 6th level undead. And I want to have one 8th level undead vampire pushing them. And then I have a feeling that Shaw is going to try to duel or at least try to have a go at the vampire. So I think it'll be a good fight.
Oh yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to the vampire fight, to be honest.
And what I'll do for it is I'm going to make a battle map. But I don't really need to because we have one right here. And I'm going to use my map straight out of the box.
I like seeing our map idea. I like seeing this map idea come to fruition. So now I don't have to play anything. I can kind of sit back and you can kind of... You're contributing more than you think by having me not do much.
Well, yeah, it saves you effort because you should be here to enjoy yourself and kick back. It's just me yammering.
I like how I'm able to focus efforts elsewhere.
I just like the. Yeah, I just think it'll help. I think people will like it.
Hell yeah.
I enjoy making that too. It's given me a lot of motivation. I just did that one that I showed you, and I did, even though it's been abandoned. The odds are good that the player character is going to pull it off. I just did Watchers of Spite today. I think you already saw it.
Yes, you sent it. Got a lot of maps. There we go.
Yeah, when I just finished off, like I said, abandoned. But when they go to push it back, doesn't mean they won't ever come here again. I mean, Zverg wants to kill Tixis. Good luck to him. But if he fails, this place is going to stay.
Yeah, he did say that. Because I asked him about his goals. You know, kind of gave him a little interview. It sucks I can't show it off, so now when I can reference it, I'm going to have to, so there's not, you know, at least until I can get Shaw in here. And Zverg is the final.
Yep, Zerg is final, but he'll be a hoot to talk to. He's fun.
I'm pumped. Alright, so they kind of left it off right there, making that decision whether to. Well, they're not making the decision yet, but they're right there. They're at the walls. They got the information.
They're deciding how they want to free Nathan's.
Yeah.
Because now all 4 of them have to go. And getting 2 guys enough spells to do everything was pretty easy. But now they have to figure out how to get across the river, how to do it unseen as a group, how to climb the wall unseen as a group, hope to fuck the weather doesn't fuck them, and hope to hell they don't get seen by random patrols. And I made it seem like that was really easy, but I did make like rolls to see if they got spotted by random patrols, and they did have to do sneak checks. But they're both quite good at what they do now. And Shaw got the magic, the tree topper bonus off of his, and Quick is just naturally really good at hiding. He has a plus 12. So, I mean, they got
Oh yeah,
so high on.
he would have to be.
They just got insanely high on their rolls, which is the way it's supposed to be. Also, they're not expecting living creatures to sneak into the place. They're watching for bungling undead, which is what they heard was sneaking
Or
in.
full frontal, like, declarative assaults. Like, because a war. You know, there's a war going on, so they're expecting, like, just the traditional formation.
They're barely even watching the water. Like, they know that they control the sea, but the player characters never have learned why there's no boats there at the moment.
I would assume it's because there's so much chaos in the war already. It would be dumb for anybody to divert resources to go attack something that is not actively in the war.
Well done. Make a hell of a general. That's exactly it. They're wasted here.
I'm just a little bit overthinking some things, and I'm just able to bank that.
I think it's a good idea. Like, that's, well, not just because I have the same idea, but because I think that is generally what happened with a country that's lost over half of its navy in a war that thought they were going to win in a couple of years. So now over schedule. The war had a projected timeline of 2 years.
Plus, kind of like how Russia is not going to
now they are basically Hitlering their ass off. They bit.
Well, I was going to say, it would be kind of dumb to also do a full frontal assault or attack on the hold because it's also the border of Zombie Nation. It's like dropping a bomb near a factory or a nuclear housing facility. You're not going to bomb it, but you're bombing something near it, and it's just dangerous. So it wouldn't make sense to even attack that place unless you're a small squad doing some Rainbow Six shit.
Well, there's another reason there's no boats there either. Withers doesn't want anyone to know.
Oh, so if the whole yeah.
By fucking zombies. Yeah.
It's good to hide in there then, huh?
Right? Like, Withers is always one step ahead. Like, he has no idea the group's going there, obviously. He's got people watching, and his people did get back to him that they were spotted in Kirill. But Kirill's the junction of 3 countries. So they could be fucking anywhere. He's got people everywhere looking for him. They kept their head down and had no contact with the land the whole way there, specifically, which means the odds of them getting seen are almost impossible. And I actually rolled very low chances to see if they were spotted by random ships going by. But when you've got people doing stuff all the time, who are running a boat that all you need to do is really set the direction and go, it's kind of hard to get spotted.
Yeah. So, man, now I want to know what's going to happen next week.
Well, next week, like I said, I think they're going to choose the undead route too. But
Yeah.
regardless, next week, I'm going to rush them through getting to Nathan's because they've already snuck into the place twice. I don't feel the need to fucking make them go through a bunch of hoops again.
If
They've as long
anything,
as they plan
you throw a
effectively.
small wrench in the plan where they're like, "Oh, are we going to get caught?" No, no, okay, of course not. Type
The
of
wrench in
thing.
the plan is going to be he's going to wake up right before they get to touch him, and then they're going to have to wrestle him down. That's going to be the number one thing. So they're going to have to subdue him quietly. And that's going to be a bit of a task for them because he's quite high level. And he's a wiry old bastard. But he's also really weak from fighting mind control for 2 years.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it'll just be one
His
thing.
mind will be scattered.
Yeah. A monkey wrench, but not an impossible one.
Oh, there we go. Oh, shit. I really like the use of the maps too, and just how you're able to transition at least fairly smoothly after you got it set up.
Yeah, the more maps I make too, the more I can show. So that just motivates me to make more. The main reason I did the Watcher's Tower one though was to try out the new Overland Maps tool set. I like it. I'll probably use it a few more times, but I don't know. And then also to be able to keep track of where they're going when they start reorganizing these
It's
guys
helping
to.
me remember easier too.
It is more you see the stuff, the basically the general shape of the world should stick in your mind. Also, I wanted to show you the sanctuary because I actually fucking found it. I knew that I had made one, and it was somewhere, and I finally found it. Uh,
Get this since it's at the end. Let's see the sanctuary business.
so this is the that's the sanctuary underground.
Oh, okay. I like the
So
cell
this is
pattern.
before. Yeah, I've never this is one of my older works, so it doesn't have the newer tools that I have available. Okay, whatever. Back's on. This should smooth it out a little bit. Anyway, this is Sanctuary. The entryway is right here. The idea of the entryway is to these are all arrow slits essentially.
Yeah.
When you get down here, there's only secret ways in, and then these doors are fake. But that was Owen's idea back in the day was to have like a kill box at the bottom of the stairs to enter because it's all underground. And from there, it's all labeled. Head to the right for the barracks, smithy, armor, treasury, banquet hall, lots of tables, huge amount of food. And then just down here, I tried to put some effort into it. And if there's ever a battle here, or say the sanctuary gets wiped out, this could be an old dungeon. So when you get to this dungeon, it all used to be something. Medical research, medical care. They're very well set up. King Ash's throne room.
Hmm. Oh, I like
So
that.
there it goes down to the grotto. Does it work? Yeah. So the grotto was the area where the metahumans live. So the fire newts, the dwarves, the gnomes, all them, mines, all that. And then you go back to the sanctuary main. I'm happy all these hot links work. And this takes you to the surface. So at this time, when I made this, we were playing in a different way where I was allowing them to play kind of like Civ 6, where you get to build the city as you go.
Yeah.
So they were just starting to build the sanctuary. Now this version of this version of the sanctuary got destroyed in the war with Tixis originally. So now I'm going to redo this map to have what they actually have. They just have a ring of 5 buildings, an entryway, and the entrance to the sanctuary with a wall around it. They're like, why fucking build anything outside if it can just get destroyed?
That's kind of a logical line of thinking.
Yep, so that's why they did it. But yeah, I found that fucker finally.
It looks very video game like, and I like these maps too because I can use them as a reference when I progress and create a 3D usable and remake one of the maps or locations in a video game and use it.
That'd be slick.
Yeah.
I would recommend Geldrin because it's a self-contained island. It would be the easiest one.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it for sure. But
I like.
I don't have a timer on this recording, but I'm gonna stop. 3, 2, 1. Ooh, at the nice shot of the world. Oh fuck yeah, that was a nice and smooth episode. I like that.
Yeah, it was a map start to finish. We stayed on point.
Born of the horn and the tail, born of curse infernal, a charlatan and a fiend. No one cared and no one ever would see. You can't escape what you are, they said, but I'm not what I seem. For breaking stone won't break a chain, but you can never break me. I crush the stones for the road until the day I saw a flame. The goblins came, the people ran, and alone I fought 'em in the rain. And on that night when others hid, I became what they never would see, until Torn, the god of law, granted me a paladin's esteem. From that day on, I made a vow to help those who can help themselves, and to Torn I'll forever bow, and to his ways I'll parallel.